there are two sort of poles that I think we vacillate between in life in general, but it shows up in business, which is this collapsing and posturing. And collapsing, we make ourselves very small, don't take up a lot of space. I'm super sorry for everything, and we give everything away. It's overgiving galore. And then posturing is the kind of puffing oneself up, and like you're saying, the shiny Instagram coach who's always pretending that everything's great, or maybe not always, but there's a lot of that. And the collapsing ends up with resentment. If you collapse long enough, you will resent um, everybody in your life who you're overgiving to. But if you posture, what you end up feeling is terrified, and terrified that you'll be discovered as being a fraud, because you are being a fraud. That's actually what's happening. And so the terror is a legitimate fear, because at some point the facade will break. It's like, remember Debbie Ford, wrote books about shadow work, talked about, if you have one beach ball and you're holding it underwater, fine. You have two, that's a trickier situation. If you have three, now this is real trouble. And four or five, you just can't. It's almost impossible with shifting tides so they keep popping up. So when people pretend to be perfect, I remember reading a book by a guy named Juggler. He was a dating coach, and he had this one chapter, and he said, Superman is not your friend. Meaning, trying to position yourself as the super proto-human actually doesn't do you any favors, because it sets you up for those troubles later. And so he was saying, I mean, it was a dating book for men, but he was saying, if a woman's ever like, oh my God, I can't stand this person, they gossip so much, the temptation is to say, yeah, can you believe people that gossip, to build rapport, to get in, yeah, we're on the same page. But he said it's much better to say, it's like, oh man, I hear you. I I try not to gossip, but I got this neighbor, and she's always got the good stuff, and she always just ropes me in. She's like 95 and she knows everything, and we just sit there and just gossip and trash talk about the whole neighborhood. It's awful. So it's like, whatever the thing is that people are complaining about, it's much better actually to implicate yourself in it, to give evidence that you're the same, because that's actually where the safety is. The safety is not in you being perfect. That is that's like waving a big red flag at the bull, saying, come and get me. It's much better to say, boy, I'm working on it, but I do that too. It's very human. It's very relatable. Nobody's above it all. Nobody doesn't have any vices. And people know that. And, you know, so on one side, you've got this collapsing. On the other side, you've got this posturing. But there is a third domain above those two that's not a compromise of them, which is a kind of composure, where you're just comfortable in your own skin. Lack of confidence is clearly the collapse, and overconfidence is the posturing. But the composure, I don't even think of the word confidence. I just think, yeah, you're comfortable in your own skin. And when we're around people who are comfortable in their own skin, we relax, because we finally get to be a human being. And we don't have to pretend. And if you pretend, then people around you have to pretend. Now it's a mask talking to a mask.